Notre Dame, Florida State, Ole Miss, and even Texas are not going to make the 12-team playoff this year. And I'm about to tell you why. 10 games this college football season that will absolutely throw the 12-team playoff out of whack. Again, so excited this season about going from 4 to 12. I think we've got 12 for 2 years contractually. And then I fully expect we're going to go to 16. We won't have these 4 byes. But I think everybody is really excited to see what the 12-team layout is going to look like. And I'm going to tell you the 10 games that are going to throw some people out and maybe get some people in. First game is week 1, right out of the bat. August 31st, number 7 Notre Dame heading to College Station to take on number 20 Texas A&M. There's so many storylines here. It's a primetime game, 6:30 ABC Central Time. A&M right now listed as a 2.5-point favorite. I expect that number to go up. We've already seen Notre Dame lose one of their starters in the secondary where they're already a little thin right now. Joe Alt, maybe the best tackle in all of football last year, on to the NFL. His replacement, redshirt freshman, he's already done for the year. So they've got to replace both tackles. And here's what I look at. Mike Elko is a guy at Duke last year. He had Duke in a situation where they had already beaten Clemson to open the season. They had Notre Dame on the ropes. Notre Dame converts a big 4th down. Riley Leonard has to come back in the game. He gets hurt. Season goes, the wrong direction after that. But Mike Elko is a guy that knows his defense, former defensive coordinator in College Station and Notre Dame. Now he's taking on his former quarterback in Riley Leonard. And you go back to last year, the Duke Notre Dame matchup. Again, the Irish really fortunate to get out of there with a win. They were 2 of 15 on 3rd downs. Elko knows defense. He knows his former quarterback. And I think this is one of those situations that Texas A&M, you're getting a lot of value right now, minus the 2.5. If the Irish win this game, they should be 8-0 hosting Florida State in South Bend on November 9th. If A&M wins this game, they could be favored in the next 10 games before hosting Texas. Rivalry weekend to end the regular season. I like Texas A&M here, and I think giving Notre Dame a loss week 1 only allows them one more loss. And looking at some other games on their schedule, again, Notre Dame hosting Florida State, going to USC. They've got Louisville on the schedule. I think they find another hiccup or 2, but I think week 1 is that game that they could go back and circle and say, you know what, we missed the 12-team playoff because A&M took care of business. We're going to jump all the way to week 5, September 28th, Oklahoma State at Kansas State. Kansas State has lost 4 of 5 against Oklahoma State. To me, this is a spot where you look at Oklahoma State coming in with Alan Bowman, Ollie Gordon. This offense ended up really finding its groove after the month of September last year. Right now, Kansas State listed in some of these offshore books right now as a 5.5-point favorite on September 28th. Kansas State, again, has lost 4 of the last 5 to Oklahoma State, but I think this is a spot Kansas State gets them. Oklahoma State, I think it's going to be a really good team this year. I think the Big 12 is so much better than advertised, but I think this is that nail in the coffin already in September. Hard to believe, but Oklahoma State will find other losses. Kansas State wins that game. We're going to stick week 5, September 28th. This is that Group 5 team, and one of them is guaranteed an automatic, not only an automatic bid, but they're also, more than likely they're going to be the 12th seed. So they're going to be playing the best team that did not get the auto to win their conference. So more than likely this is going to be a 12 seed. A lot of people believe this is going to be Liberty because Liberty should be favored in every one of their games except one. Caden Salter coming back at quarterback. Liberty, when you look at them right now in the conference they're in CUSA, they should dominate that conference. But they've got Appalachian State out of the Sun Belt, week 5, Kidd Brewer Stadium. You can't just walk into Kidd Brewer Stadium in Boone, North Carolina and expect outstanding results. Appalachian State, believe it or not, is the winningest program over the last decade that has not been to a college football playoff. They've won 95 games over the last decade. Year 5 for Sean Clark, the coach there. He's got a really good quarterback coming back in Joey Aguilar. Aguilar, 6'3", 220, over 3,700 passing yards, 33 touchdowns last year. This is going to be an outstanding game. But when I look at this, Appalachian State, I'm going to list them as a 2.5-point favorite. Liberty, all it's going to take is one loss, and they have absolutely no shot at a college football playoff. And I think they absorbed that. Week 5, again, Kidd Brewer Stadium. We'll stay week 5. Very important week. This is like our early pivotal week in college football to decide what's going to be going on. Again, we're talking 10 games this college football season that will throw the 12-team playoff out of whack. I am Lance Taylor. This is YLose.com. Go to YLose.com/campus. You can get the daily package, $49, the weekly, $99, the monthly, $299. We're going to be giving you content leading up to the college football season. We're only weeks away from regular season action. Super excited about that. Again, going back to week 5, September 28th, Florida State, a team that will be playing with a chip on their shoulder. DJU is now the quarterback. Jordan Travis is gone. They head to Dallas to take on SMU. This right now is the 3rd highest priced ticket, according to StubHub, on that day. And there are some big games if you look ahead to your schedule on September 28th. The get-in right now, $173. The only tickets that are bigger right now, Oklahoma at Auburn, and then Georgia at Alabama. Massive games there in the SEC, and this ticket number or this price is right there with them. SMU coming off 11 wins last year. Rhett Lashley has got this team dialed in. I don't think the moment is going to be too big in the ACC. When you look at brands, it's not even close. Florida State already listed in some offshore books as a 7.5-point favorite in this spot. Preston Stone will be the difference. SMU's got the better quarterback. They don't necessarily have the horses to line up against Florida State, but it's going to be one of those situations, weird atmosphere. SMU fans are going to be completely pumped. I think SMU knocks off Florida State. Right now is a 7.5-point underdog. Florida State's got some other losses on that schedule. 9-3 will keep them out. I know the committee would love for them to be 10-2, give them a pass based on last year. They kind of got the snub. I think there's a lot of Florida State fans that believe they win 10 games, they get in. But I think that will be the game that costs them a college football playoff berth. Week 7, October 12th, Penn State travels to the Coliseum to take on USC. Very strange. We look at Penn State, USC in the same conference now, but this is realignment, and that's what we've got. USC, I really don't know what to expect. I believe the offense is always going to be good under Lincoln Riley. Deanne Lynn is going to get the defense better this year. They can't be any worse. Penn State is typically a team that, as long as they're not playing a top 10, James Franklin does win those games. Once he plays top 10 teams, they can't win. This will not be a top 10 USC team, but I believe at the end of the year, we're going to look at USC and we're going to be like 8-4. They're going to beat a team they shouldn't beat. They're going to lose to a team they shouldn't lose to. Right now, Penn State is a 4.5-point favorite according to offshore books. I think USC, Miller Moss in this spot, big game, week 7. I like USC knocking off Penn State. Penn State will find another loss or two. They will not make the Big Ten championship game. And I know Penn State fans are going to be kicking themselves in the ass saying, what do we got to do to get to a college football playoff? We couldn't find our way there when it was a 14 playoff. Now, first year, a 12-team playoff with Drew Allerback with that great backfield. The expectation, college football playoff or bust. I think the game at USC is going to cost the Nittany Lions. October 12th, week 7, the Red River rivalry. Texas and Oklahoma. We have moved it from an 11 a.m. Central kick to a 2:30 kick, which I like much better. Texas listed right now as a 7.5-point favorite. Oklahoma, though, has won 4 of their last 5 against the Texas Longhorns. And you go back last year, Dylan Gabriel, an incredible drive to end that game. They win 34-30. Texas still found a way to get in. But with this Texas SEC schedule, they lose this game against Oklahoma, they are going to find another couple of losses. They've still got to host Georgia, and they've got some really, really difficult games. We'll get to another game with Texas coming up that I think will actually slam the coffin on Texas, but I think this is that first peg. I think Oklahoma takes out Texas right now is a 7.5-point dog October 12th. Again, YLose, YLose.com. This is YLose Campus. If you go to YLose.com/Lance, you can get all the daily plays, $49, weekly $99, monthly $299. Really, really excited about some of the stuff we're going to be doing this fall with YLose Campus. Week 9, October the 26th, Kansas and Kansas State, the Sunflower Showdown. Pretty amazing here. Kansas State has won 15 consecutive games against the Jayhawks. Lance Leipold, though, one of the best coaches nobody talks about. I love Chris Kleiman as well, though, at Kansas State. Will Howard on now. He will be the quarterback, obviously, for Ohio State. Avery Johnson is going to take over, and this kid is electrifying. But on the other side, Jalen Daniels, I think in this game, you could say Jalen Daniels might be the better quarterback. He has to stay healthy for the Jayhawks to have success this year. I think Kansas State and Kansas both very much in the mix to win the Big 12, but I think Kansas gets this first win after losing 15 straight. And I think ultimately that's going to cost Kansas State a shot at the college football playoff. Week 10, November 2nd, Ole Miss at Arkansas. Now, I know what people are saying. Sam Pittman's on a major hot seat. He might already be fired by this point in time. But Ole Miss has had a lot of problems with Arkansas, especially recently. Right now, Ole Miss is listed as a 7-point favorite on November 2nd in Fayetteville. They've split the last 4 meetings, including the Ole Miss 27-20 win in Oxford last year. But if you look at Sam Pittman's 4 years in Fayetteville against Ole Miss, they've actually outscored Ole Miss 146 to 127. Sam Pittman, for whatever reason, has been right there, had every opportunity to go 3-1 against Ole Miss, but sitting at 2-2. Taylon Green, the Boise State transfer, we'll see how good he is, but I think this is one of those spots. Here's the thing. Ole Miss, they have the most beneficial schedule out there. Number 6 preseason rankings. Everybody believes Ole Miss is getting in this thing, but with that schedule, if they lose 3 games, there is no shot they get in. They still have other difficult games, including Georgia. So I think Ole Miss, the only way they stay out of the college football playoff if Lane Kiffin blows one of these games. And I think in Fayetteville, Week 10, November 2nd, is going to be that game Lane Kiffin blows. Week 11, November 9th, Oklahoma at Missouri. Right now, Wildcats, the Tigers, 3.5-point favorites. This is the old Tiger Sooner peace pipe. It's back. Now, if you never knew what that rivalry was, I really didn't either. It was in the Big 12. Now that they're in the SEC, but they haven't played since 2011. Oklahoma completely dominant in this series. They've won 20 of the last 22. Oklahoma with Jackson Arnold. This could be the surprise quarterback of all of college football this year. He was not good in the bowl game, his one start last year, turned it over 4 times. Missouri, the expectation after 11 wins under Eli Drinkwitz in year 4 is college football playoff or bust. Brady Cook, really good quarterback. Luther Burden III, you can make an argument, best player in all of college football. But Cody Schrader, a guy they really could rely on to take some pressure off of Brady Cook out of that backfield. He's gone to the NFL. I just don't know if they've got that guy that can replace him. I think Missouri's going to be really good, but they are going to lose one of these tight, tough games in the SEC with Oklahoma and Texas coming in. And I think Oklahoma is the one that gets them in Week 11. Again, right now the Sooners at 3.5-point underdog, but I think ultimately they get Missouri, and that would be it for Missouri. Even with 2 losses on that schedule, 10 wins in the SEC, based on the fact that they're not really going to beat anybody, I think Missouri could be in trouble. And then finally, we started this with Texas A&M. We'll end it with Texas A&M. Week 14, November 30th, rivalry weekend, the game that everybody is talking about. First matchup between these hated rivals since 2011. Texas heads to College Station. Report is none of these A&M fans are going to sell any of their tickets to Texas fans. It's going to be 90% Aggie fans. Right now, Texas minus 3.5. I think Texas A&M is going to be so much better than advertised. Currently preseason, they're number 20. I think they climb the polls. I think it starts week 1 against Notre Dame. That loss ultimately cost Notre Dame. And I think Texas rolls into College Station at 9-2. And can you imagine the drama? We're already going to have it. But at 9-2, knowing that if they lose, they're out of the college football playoff. And if they win, they're in. That pressure on Texas, too much. A&M, Mike Elko's defense, the difference here. I like A&M knocking Texas out of the college football playoff. That is 10 games this college football season. It will throw the 12-team playoff out of whack. Again, go to YLose.com/Lance. Daily plays, $49, weekly $99, monthly $299. It's going to be an incredible season. Jump on board, like, subscribe, share. We're really excited about things we're doing right here on YLose campus.